This video is a follow-on from the previous 29 videos dealing with price in the precious metals markets. If you haven't seen those videos, I'd recommend you doing so before watching this one. In this video, I'll try to wrap things up as best I can. As I've said many times in other videos, we're in the midst of a currency crisis. There is much more wrong with the financial system than just this, but to detail everything is beyond the remit of this video. Suffice to say that when this financial tsunami hits the land full force, currencies will be seen to be the crap that they are. Not only by a small number of people who are interested in economics, but by everyone, including all the normies. And by this point, gold and silver will be shining. I expect gold and silver will go up hugely in price. What will that price be? I don't know. The truth is that as a result of massive manipulation in the precious metals markets, there's been no proper price discovery for either gold or silver for a very long time. The true price of these precious metals is therefore totally unknown at this time. Commentators can speculate all they want, but no one really knows what the true price of gold or silver actually would be. I think that wondering about what the price will be is something of a wasted time, a pointless academic exercise. I think it's safe to say, though, that it's likely that the price is going to be many multiples higher than it is now. We must bear in mind that although the manipulation has gone on a long time, nothing lasts forever. It's inevitable that the manipulation will come to an end. At some point in time, market forces will replace the manipulation, and when that happens, the price of precious metals will soar. That time is fast approaching. Our overlords, thankfully, seem to be losing control. I should also say that we have to be aware that there's a difference between price and value. We might think of them as being the same, but they are different and so shouldn't really be confused. Precious metals will soon come to be seen as valuable once again. Or rather, I should say gold will once again take its rightful place on the world stage, because the way I see it, it's always been important. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a question of perceptions. So, to restate this, gold will once again be perceived as being not only the tier 1 asset that it actually is, but will return to being regarded as a monetary metal, as real money. As for silver, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a good number of other people, silver is the most undervalued asset on the planet. As for price, well, as I've said, it's impossible to give a price. I should say that we have to be very wary of valuing anything in terms of increasingly worthless currencies. During a hyperinflationary event in Weimar Republic, Germany circa 1923, the price of gold per ounce went from 100 Deutschmarks to 87 trillion Deutschmarks. This reflects the dramatic devaluation of the Deutschmark. It lost value against gold. I'm sure you'll agree that such numbers are utterly absurd. Currencies are the means by which we measure value or worth, but in a hyperinflationary environment, this mechanism fails. The figures become absurd to the point of meaninglessness. Be advised, hyperinflation is where we're headed, and the bank bailouts by central banks will guarantee that we get hyperinflation. The money supply is going to balloon. As I've said, we're in the midst of a currency crisis. The inflation that most countries are experiencing is just an aspect of that, as is hyperinflation. I'm of the opinion that inflation will trend upwards, continue to rise on an ever-steepening curve until the currency hyperinflates. Hyperinflation will, at some point in the not-too-distant future, render most of the currencies of the world utterly worthless. Moving on. I should say that I will never exchange my holdings of precious metals, assets which have real value, for crap currencies, for increasingly worthless bits of paper that have little or no value, or perhaps even worse, digits on a screen in a bank account, especially given the precariousness of the banking system at present. I'm only interested in buying hard assets in the future after the crash. I should say that I'm in the process of converting any spare fiat I have for precious metals. So I'm converting crap currencies into real money while it's still possible to do so. Moving on. Be advised, what's coming is going to be devastating. Way worse than the 2007-2008 financial crisis. To give you an idea of scale, it might be helpful to draw an analogy about bombs dropped in World War II. Imagine the difference between a large conventional bomb and an atom bomb like those dropped on either Nagasaki or Hiroshima in Japan towards the end of the war. When the debt disaster currency crisis hits full force and when the financial system collapses, the world will be more or less divided into two distinct groups: those who have real money like gold and silver in their possession and those that do not. People who don't own any gold and silver will become significantly poorer in terms of purchasing power. As Gregory Mannarino of Trader Choice on YouTube is wont to say, the world will be divided into the haves and the have-nots. And I think he's right in saying this. The latter will probably struggle to survive, and they will pay the price for their ignorance. Many millions will die. I'm of the opinion that after the crash, we need to have some kind of sound money system put in place. To have a normal, functioning society, I think that this has to happen. In the past, this has meant a gold standard. It's possible that energy might be used to back currencies, as has happened with the petrodollar system, but I prefer gold. The arseholes that are in power, our overlords, as I refer to them as, don't like the gold standard for various different reasons. They got rid of it in 1971 with the Nixon shock so that they could carry out their con. But as soon as they are removed from power and dealt with, there should be no impediment. Even if a gold standard isn't reinstituted, gold will be sought after by the ordinary people of the world to safeguard themselves against any future adverse financial events. All the above is bullish for precious metals. I split this topic into a number of videos, so there's one more to follow. In the next video, I'll give 2 real-world examples from history. Wise up and rise up.